Hit.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today's video, I'm going to be going over my latest suppressor acquisition, and that is the SilencerCo Salvo 12. For anybody that's not aware, the Salvo 12 is a 12 gauge suppressor. It is not new. It's been out for several years. I think probably close to 10 years, maybe a little bit shy of 12 years. But it was one of the really was the leading 12 gauge suppressor available on the commercial wide market. You know, I know that there is several other offerings out there available now between, I think it's JK Armament, and I cannot remember the other one off the top of my head. And then of course Huxworks has released theirs recently as well. I'm not going to go super detailed into the Salvo 12 because there was already tons of videos out there and it's not new news. I really just kind of wanted to go over my impressions of it, because what I have found when I was researching to figure out, you know, did I want a Salvo 12 or did I want a different 12 gauge suppressor? It's really a mixed bag of opinions and feelings and reviews when it comes to this can. Some people absolutely love them. Some people say they do absolutely nothing. Before I go into this, I am inclined to think that the people who say that they are useless and they don't do anything maybe have bigger expectations, I should say unrealistic expectations for what this can is going to be capable of. I think most people know that suppressors, you know, they don't silence. I know the Maxim patent calls them silencers, but you know, with the exception of rimfire cans, or I should say rimfire calibers, and you know, some may say even 9mm and 45, none of them are really silent. They're not Hollywood silent. 22s are, but anything over that, especially when you're talking about anything that's going to break the sound barrier of a roughly 1100 feet per second, they're still going to be loud because you're going to get the sonic boom, the sonic crack. On top of that, you know, suppressors, what they typically do is, you know, they may reduce decibels anywhere from, let's say, 25 to maybe 40 decibels. So the louder gun that you shoot, or the louder caliber that you shoot, the louder it's still going to be, even if you have a good suppressor on there. Now, I have shot one of these before, and I'm going to go ahead and drop some video in there. Last year, my son and I went down to Suppress Fest, and at Suppress Fest, a whole bunch of suppressor vendors are out there, and you get to, you know, you pay an entry fee, and then you get to go try out a whole bunch of different cans out there. And the Salvo 12 was one of them that we did get to try. It was on a Remington 870, I believe it was a short barrel shotgun. I can almost guarantee you that they were the ammo that we were supplied was subsonic ammo, so it could really make this thing, you know, really shine. I don't currently have any subsonic ammo, so when I go hit the range tomorrow, I have a different range of buckshots to slugs, bird shot and whatnot. But this is I'll be shooting this my Mossberg 590 Shockwave. As you can see, I already have the Salvo 12 mount on there. And in addition to that, I will be shooting my Remington 1187 short barrel shotgun. Both of these do have 14-inch barrels. Now, I'm pretty sure I'm not allowed to show you how the can mounts onto the gun, or at least show you me doing it. But as you can see, this is the mount here. The mount screws into the barrel via choke. So there's many different mounts available out there. Neither my Shockwave nor my 1187 were threaded for chokes whatsoever. I just did receive them back from Rose Action Sports. Excellent work they did there. I highly recommend them if you want your shotgun barrel threaded for a choke. Really good job. Really happy with it. It's a $1.25 per barrel, which includes return shipping. So you can see you start off by mounting this in here just like a choke. Simply screw it in my hand and then use the spanner wrench that comes with it, that you would line up in these slots right here, if you can see them, to snug it down a little bit. And again, I don't think I can show you how this thing mounts, but as you can see, there is a taper that's going to go on here, and you will slip it on. And I'm going to go ahead and mount it. And through the magic of video editing, as you can see, the Salvo 12 is now mounted. So As you see it in its current configuration, it is 12 inches long. They do make different rod kits, and I'm going to go into it in a minute, but the rod kits can reduce this from the full size 12 down to 10 inches, down to 8 inches, down to 6 inches. Obviously, the more that you shorten this, the less suppression effects that you're going to get. Some things that I am going to go into is kind of how the Salvo works. I mean, just like any other suppressor, you do have baffles. I'm going to go ahead and drop some pictures in there because I did have this disassembled at one point. And as you can see, it's a pretty simple overall design. But one of the things that really got my attention, or I always wondered about these things, is how, if you're shooting buckshot, birdshot through one of these, how do you not blow the can apart as the shot exits the barrel of the shotgun and then starts going through the can? So what SilencerCo does do, or how they do this, is you can see there's rods down in there, and those rods act as basically like a rail. So as the shot and the wad exit your barrel, they will pick up inside of the can here, and they will ride those rails until the shot cup exits the suppressor, and then they'll start to spread apart. So that being said, you are required to use things that have cups, or shells that have cups in them, so they don't expand inside of the suppressor. You can shoot slugs through this, but you're not supposed to shoot rifled slugs. SilencerCo says that does have the potential to damage the rods on the inside. This can is fully serviceable. Every section that you see is one of the baffles, and then of course you have the base piece over here and then the end cap. So you can take it apart. It is recommended that you clean it. I don't remember the interval. It's definitely a lot less than rifle cans, at least the rifle cans that you can service, like such as my Huxworks can. They say like every 1,500 rounds you should dunk the entire thing into CLP, let it sit overnight, take it out the next day and shoot it. Definitely less than that, but one of the things that I did do with the suppressor to, hopefully make it easier to clean later is that I coated every single baffle with this boar butter. So this boar butter, as you can see, it's specifically made for muzzle loaders. It's made as a gun care product that seasons the boar to reduce fouling and then also acts as a preservative. So where I got the idea to use this was when I got my Rugged Obsidian 9. That is a fully serviceable can that has individual baffles in it, and that was a suggestion that I had actually come across a couple times where they say, hey, listen, go coat your baffles with this boar butter, and when you go to clean it later, it makes it a lot easier to clean. So I've only cleaned my can, my 9mm can, twice, I believe. Method I use is soaking it in CLR overnight, and when I did, I was able to just wipe the baffles clean with a dry cloth. Was that because of the boar butter? I don't know, but I went ahead and decided to try it out on my Salvo 12 to see if it makes any difference whatsoever. And then tomorrow morning, I'm going to be going out and I'm going to be trying a couple different rounds of ammunition through this thing. I'll shoot it unsuppressed. I'll shoot it suppressed. Keep in mind that cell phones do not pick up sound the best. They kind of moderate themselves. So I don't know how much of a difference you're going to be able to hear. Using Video Magic, you're going to automatically jump to me at the range tomorrow trying out the Salvo 12. Spartan double-aught buck. Lambro double-aught buck. Winchester Universal 7.5 shot. All right, now we're back. As you see, I do have it in a shorter configuration now. When I took it to the range, I had it in the full configuration. Could you change this out to go to the shorter, longer, whatever it is, when you go to the range? I mean, sure you could, but it's not something I really want to. You know, when it comes to disassembly, you've got these two screws back here. They run the entire length of the can. The end piece down here, the end cap, it has these studs that are pressed in. You screw them down in there, and then you have all of the individual rails. And I believe there's 8 or 9 of them down in there. You have to get them all lined up in between the baffles and everything. So I didn't want to take care of that at the range. But I am anxious to hear how this sounds in the shorter 8-inch configuration down from the full length 12. So when you see the video clips, I think it depends on what you listen to them on. You know, when I watch them on my cell phone, I could imagine that somebody would be like, that doesn't even sound like it has a suppressor on there whatsoever. But when I listen to it, like when I'm in my car and my phone's hooked up to the Bluetooth and I have the Bose system in there, it does sound a lot less. So I don't know where you're watching this, you know, how it's going to sound on your TV. But what I will say about the sound, so it is about as loud as a 12, I'm sorry, as loud as a 22 long rifle unsuppressed, just with bass is, I guess, the best way I can explain it. You saw on some of those video clips there, I was wearing no ear pro. I was a little bit hesitant to do that. I kind of slipped one off halfway over my ear, shot it. I was like, man, that's not too bad. And then I ended up taking them off completely. So I went through a couple of tubes, multiple tubes of multiple tubes of 5 rounds each with the suppressor and no ear pro on whatsoever. And like I said, it's like as loud as a 22, it just sounds different. So yes, it's still loud. 22 is loud. If you're used to hearing 22 long rifle suppressed, or you're used to hearing maybe something like 9mm, maybe even 45 cal, it's still loud. If you're used to hearing something like 22 long rifle, 9mm, maybe even 45, you're gonna be like, wow, that's really loud. And it is, and it's 22 long rifle. I don't know how many decibels it's at, but it's well above what can do hearing damage, especially when you're shooting supersonic ammunition, which I was through this. I shot some of these Lambro guard buckshot, which is a double-aught buck. It says it's 1,325 feet per second. I shot some of the Celler and Balot. I shot some Federal 7.5 shot, or I think Winchester 7.5 shot, but it's 1,200 feet per second. I didn't shoot any slugs at all. In the video clips, it sounds like you hear a difference between different buckshots and then going to the Winchester Universal 7.5 shot. But I can tell you that when I was shooting it in real life, I didn't hear a ton of difference between the between the 2 double-aught buck and the Winchester birdshot, 7.5 birdshot. But there was no discomfort whatsoever. You know, I've shot my rifle can shooting 5.56, shot a couple rounds, and it's like it doesn't cause immediate ear pain, but you can tell it's loud. And then later in the day, I got tinnitus going on in my ear. With this, not even a little bit of discomfort when you're shooting it unsuppressed. So that is definitely not something that you should do, because we know it is loud enough to damage your hearing in the long term. But I can say, you know, I probably shot 15, 20 rounds with no ear pro on. And here I am hours later in the day, and I don't have any ringing in my ears whatsoever. So take that for what it's worth. You know, I see, as I mentioned before, a lot of people say it doesn't sound like it does anything. It definitely does, because I'm not letting a unsuppressed shotgun go. I don't even want to let it go 1 round. It is very loud. One of the other things that makes it more pleasurable to shoot is the concussive blast. It basically eliminates it. Now, some of that may be because, and I'm sure a lot of it, if not a lot of it, some of it at least has to be that I am moving the blast 12 inches away, you know, the length of the can. You know, I noticed that when I shoot shotguns unsuppressed, you can feel the concussive shock wave, and it feels like you're enveloped in it, you know, like it's kind of all around you. The concussion is absolutely gone using the Salvo 12. It does definitely divert downrange a bit, and you don't feel any of that. As far as smoke, When I first went, it was really smoky because I mixed it up with the boar butter, or coated the baffles with the boar butter, which actually, speaking of which, I'm going to go ahead and cut away to a quick video. While I was in the process of breaking down the can to its 8-inch configuration, I was curious, like I said early in the video, as I wiped all these baffles down, as you can see here. As I mentioned, you get half baffles and whole baffles. This is a whole baffle, this is a half baffle. They sit on top of each other, such as this in a stack. But I mentioned the boar butter that I put on all the baffles because I heard it made things cleaning easier. And it does seem to be, it is a little bit easier. You know, you can see here's a baffle. Now, I did shoot about a little over 3 boxes, 325 round boxes of shells through this thing today. So not a ton, but not exactly just a handful. And as I go through and wipe it off, look at that, just kind of wipes that, all that carbon crap just kind of wipes right off. So appeared like it, just like I see on my rugged obsidian baffles. The boar butter definitely makes it easier to scrape off the carbon later. And then also, as you can see here on the rods, these are the main rods, the 2 that go through the can to hold everything together. Not that it comes off easily, super easily, like absolutely clean, but definitely not too difficult. And then the rails that are running the length of the can that guide the shot cup, as you see, pretty easy cleanup. I don't even have any solvent on this rag whatsoever. It's just a blue shot paper towel. So a little bit of CLP, I'm sure these are going to clean up pretty dang easily. Yeah, so it worked well. You know, very smoky for the first 10 or 15 shells that I put through, but once that burned off, it was good to go. And as you saw in that video clip there, the removing the carbon was easily done with a dry paper towel. So what else? The blast, as far as like you know, fireball coming out of the end, I didn't really notice a lot of that. And I think just overall, you know, is the Salvo 12 worth it? In my opinion, I'm going to say yes. I think if you expect it to be as quiet as a 22 or a pistol can, you're going to be very disappointed. At least a pistol can shooting subsonic rounds, you're going to be very disappointed because it's not that. It's still loud, still sounds like a gunshot. It's just a much smaller gunshot, like a 22. You are not going to be able to let a round off in the backyard of your subdivision home without getting a lot of attention. But it effectively does the job. I do absolutely feel that it's worth it, again, for the sound reduction, for the concussive blast. You know, my wife, she has shot my shotguns, and it's just like absolutely brutal for her. She has not shot this yet, but I think she would have no issue shooting this, with the exception of the added weight. I would probably have to support the fore end of the shotgun on like a bipod so that she could shoot it. But I'm sure that she wouldn't find it a bad experience whatsoever. The only other thing also, it's the size. In the full configuration, it is very unwieldy. I could imagine, like, if you're trying to do sporting clays or duck hunting, having to swing the gun around would be pretty awkward. And you know, in full configuration, it is 2 pounds. And in the 8-inch version, it looks like it weighs 1 pound, 8.5 ounces. So took off about half of a pound, which, you know, I'll take. I'm sure you're going to feel that at the end of a shotgun. So with this in the shorter configuration, it definitely feels a lot better on the gun. The next thing would be, again, going out there and shooting it and seeing if it is still hearing tolerable. That's what I'll call that. We know it's not hearing safe. See if it's still hearing tolerable. And if it is, I'm definitely going to keep it in the shorter configuration. I know I have other configurable cans, such as my rugged Obsidian 9, and as I have shot that, depending on the platform that it's on, you know, you can have it in the long configuration or the short. And on some platforms, I don't notice any difference whatsoever between the long and the short. But just like psychologically, I want max suppression, so I always just leave it in the long configuration. Considering the size of this thing, if I can still shoot this without having hearing discomfort, I'm going to go ahead and leave it in this configuration. It is a lot more handier in this size. So overall, that is my experiences with the SilencerCo Salvo 12. Very happy with the purchase. I'm not a SilencerCo fanboy. I have Huckworks cans. I have the one rugged can. I was very concerned to see, based on the history that I saw online, some of the posts and whatnot, that people basically said it was like it did nothing. I tell you that is absolutely not the case. Yes, still loud as a 22, but hearing tolerable, blast deflection, concussion killer. Great can. So very happy with it. So hope you liked the video. If it was helpful to you, please like and subscribe to the channel. Share it as much as you like. And we'll see you in the next one. Thank you.